Alright guys, I'm going to tell y'all a story that happened about 2 years ago. Since I'm stupid and don't know how to Greentext and I'm on mobile, it will take a little while to upload it all. It happened at my grandma's house in a small mountain town in New Mexico. It's so high up in the mountains you can stand in clouds. Back to the story. We were up there for my grandma's funeral because our aunt got the house and we got money. Anyways, I was outside on the back porch. It was huge because we were on the side of a mountain. It went all around the whole house except one side. There had always been this house barn thing at the bottom of the hill. It had a huge gas canister, and when you walked past it, it would smell bad. It constantly had flies, raccoons, squirrels, bears, etc. Also it was pine trees fucking everywhere. So anyways, we had a .22 and were just taking pot shots at anything that moved. We also had a trailer that sat there for as long as I could remember right off the back porch. It had been abandoned for as long as I can remember, although my brothers and cousins told me they used to stay in it. Anyways, it had been abandoned and I was 16 at the time. My cousin dared me to shoot it. Since I don't back down from a dare, I shot at one of the wheels. It fucking exploded. And it tipped and rolled down the hill at that barn thing. It hit it in the gas canister. All we heard was a loud ass crash. The next thing I see will probably stay in my mind forever. 3 butt-ass naked men run out. Anyways, these 3 naked-ass guys run out. One of them was so fat and fucking hairy he could pass as a gay Bigfoot. And run towards the house and go under the porch. Our parents run out and are all freaking out and shit. Since part of my family is major redneck. They have rifles, shotguns, etc. Anyways, we all decide to shoot these weird fuckers. 2 of my cousins go on one side, one of my brothers stays on the porch with our uncle's handgun. And me and my brother are on the other side of the house. They are armed with their hunting rifles, while my bro has a hunting shotgun, while I'm armed with my grandma's old-ass double-barrel shotgun. Have I ever mentioned I have never shot a shotgun before? Anyways, I'm leading in front of my brother. Despite him being 21 and me being 16, we all go around at the same time trying not to shoot each other. I come around first and the skinniest fucker runs at me with a knife. I didn't know what I was doing, so I squeezed both triggers at once. It blew my ass to the ground and ripped the gun out of my front arm, so I'm just holding it with hand on the trigger. Want to know what else got blown? A huge fucking hole inside of that guy's chest. He flies the fuck back and rolls down the hill a bit and stops. In the meanwhile, I'm fumbling about trying to reload because another one of the fuckers is running at me. Since I'm on the ground, he grabbed a nail board from under the porch and swings it at me. I pull up my arm just in time. It fucking sticks into my arm and he tries to book it past me. He swung it like a golf club. It's fucking deep in my arm too. I try to pull it out and it's the most excruciating pain I've ever felt. Even worse than the time I broke both growth plates in my knees in high school football. I finally managed to get it out. In the meanwhile, my cousins rush over. My brother turns and fires a buckshot into the guy's legs. He drops and tries to start crawling away. I manage to get up with help. With the help of my older cousins, I get up. We are looking over the guy that my brother shot. He's still alive and has this look of pure terror on his face. He was saying some bullshit along the lines of "Please don't go down there. Please, please, please," and he wouldn't shut the fuck up. Then we hear yelling. It was Shrek. Just kidding. It was the fat guy who was shaped like Shrek though. He lowered his shoulder and plows through all of us. I can take a hit. But this fucker was fucking strong. I'm on the ground and look up, he's just yelling and running straight back into the woods. I hear an ear-deafening shot. My cousin shot him in the back with a .308 round from his hunting rifle. He drops and is wiggling around on the ground. By this time everyone is outside while this shit is happening, which includes kids under the age of 10. My bro runs down with his handgun. He's a personal trainer and still is, so he's pretty big. He runs over and has the big guy on gunpoint while one of my cousins runs over to help him. I get up and dust myself off. While still bleeding, I just kinda hold the wound and walk up to the guy I shot. It will never leave my mind. His chest was literally exploded. Anyways, I call one of my cousins over. Load up my shotgun and walk back down to the barn. He tries to stop me and I just tell him to follow. We walk down together while my aunt calls the ranger or sheriff or whatever he was. It was a mountain town. We walk up to this barn and inside is the most foul-smelling, reeking mounds of something we have ever seen. You thought the guy I shot was bad. 9 dead bodies. 4 were skeletons. 3 were rotting half-eaten. 2 were recent kills. I fucking puked. One of them was a kid younger than me. He had gone missing a few weeks before we got there. I remember because my aunt was telling my younger cousins not to run off cause the kid probably had gotten eaten by a mountain lion. My cousin just kinda turned away with an angry look. My cousin was fucking pissed. He had kids and they were younger, and he walks back up the mountain to the 2 guys. They had managed to drag the fat guy back to his skinny friend. He kinda looked like a scrapper from the Fallout 3 Point Lookout DLC. My cousin was fucking furious. He pointed his gun at the skinny one's face, and we had to fucking hold him back. He had kids. We all understood, but Jesus fucking Christ. They were going to cannibalize that kid back there. I was feeling like shit, so I just walked up to the porch holding my arm, and kinda just sat down. The ambulance can't get up the rocky ass road up to the house, so my uncle drove me to the hospital. The whole time I just stayed silent. He would ask questions and I would just sit there and stay quiet. I couldn't get the image of the bodies out of my mind. We got to the hospital and they treated the wound. I had to get a tetanus shot, etc. The cop was lazy as fuck and just waited for me to come back, so he took the guys to his squad car and called in the forensic guys or whatever to get the bodies. The ones in the barn and the guy I shot. I got back around 2 hours later and I just kinda walked in and I was like the elephant in the room. Everyone stared at me. I usually walk around with a dead expression on my face to make people feel uncomfortable. But this time it was legit. My mom told me the cop was on the back porch, so I walked out and we did the whole "what happened? What did you see? What did you do?" bullshit. I told him everything that happened even with my brothers and cousins there. I just kinda sat there for a while and just stared as the guys took the bodies away. The coup took me to the side of the house where nobody could hear us. He told me something along the lines of those guys were literally insane. They were eating those people. They were cannibals. You did the right thing, kid. And he just kinda walked off. And the cops and shit fucked off. When we walked back inside I just kinda sat there looking at my feet. My UNCLE, which is really redneck, despite him living in El Paso, Texas, which is practically Beamer town. Balls up and asks me, "Well, what did the cop ask and say?" I told him the stuff and the people's faces in the room were mixes of disgust and depression. I just kinda started crying. I know it was a pussy thing to do. I wasn't wailing or shit, just tears. I just stared at the ground and just sat there like that while people watched. I kinda wiped my face and looked up and just stared out the window. I just let the words come out of my mouth and said, "If you have any questions, just ask me. It'll be easier to put them out now, so you don't have to ask later." I only got a few questions, like, "What happened? Are you alright? Are you okay?" The one that fucked me up the most was my small cousin, Dylan. He was 8, asking me, "What was in the barn?" It just kinda lucked me up a little. I turned to my cousin, who went down there with me, if I should tell him. He said fuck it. So I told them 9 dead bodies. I told them the shit about some of them being half-eaten, and some were spooky skeletons. Then I said the one that lucked me up the most was the kid that got abducted a few weeks ago. It was him. Everyone just stared at me. What tucked me up the most was the next day, more cops showed up. I walked down with them to the barn and we walked into the basement. They restored power for a short amount of time, so a single light bulb lit up the room. There was writing everywhere, every single inch was covered in random words and some Latin bullshit. We walked back out and I felt as if I had a heavy weight lifted off my shoulders. Want to know why? I gave closure to all the families whose family members had gone missing. They might not want to hear they got eaten or were going to, but I took what that cop said to heart. Next few days the cops would come every now and then to check up. I stayed for questions for the next few weeks and eventually took a plane back. But in those few weeks me and my cousin covered the barn. From basement to attic. In gasoline and burned it down. Over the days everyone got used to. What used to be a cute boy with a baby face is now a killer with a baby face. Like seriously. It takes me months to grow inch-long hairs on my face. It wasn't released in the news because it would fuck up the town's reputation. A few months after I leave the cop that I talked to. His partner got shot and killed by some crazy guy. Literally at the house at the entrance to go to the house on the hill. Sometimes I break down and cry when I remember. The one thing that fucked me up the most is I have sleep paralysis. I woke up and couldn't move. I have to constantly listen to things for me to not have it. I listen to music/live streams now. I was in the paralysis and was sitting there and I saw the kid. He was sitting on the end of my bed. He turns to me and says one word. Thanks, and he was gone. I woke up just sitting there. I didn't know what to do. I used to go to a psychiatrist and I told him about the thing. He told me spirits can contact through sleep. It was good he did. I did right that day. And now people will be happy that I did do good. Other families and even mine. I'm happy now. Finn. I'll take questions now. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe.